Hello out there in cryptocurrency land. Welcome back to Real Crypto, where we take the markets one leg at a time while keeping the market cycle in mind. Just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, about the website, real-crypto.com, where you can check out my services, the Power Hour, which we really had a great discussion this morning. If you want to check out my live stream from earlier today, and if you're interested, every single day we do go over the market during the Power Hour. All right, so let's get right to it. I got a naked chart for you up here. I usually don't go naked chart, but I think today's a little bit different. I think today's a little bit special. I think today is one of those days where a lot of people want to try to predict the future and say what's going on and tell you exactly what's going to happen and how you should play it. And I guess I'm going to attempt to do that as well. But in this situation, I don't think that is necessarily wise. But I will give you the bullish case scenario, I will give you the bearish case scenario, and I will tell you what I do think is going to happen. So I've been going over this all morning long. It started at, basically 6 hours ago when I got up at 6 in the morning and started live streaming. Bitcoin was way down underneath the $32,000 level. We're now back up in the $38,000 level. So we've already come back substantially. We've already rallied through approximately almost 30%. Now, if we zoom out on this chart, what you're going to notice is, first of all, we're on a Binance chart. Be very clear what chart you're on. And we're going to notice the largest volume ever since the low back in March. March was a capitulation volume. This is also capitulation volume. Shout out to the people that don't like that word. Capitulation volume is pretty rare. Doesn't happen very often. As a matter of fact, it's only happened, one other time in the past year. We did have a couple of small capitulation lows, but nothing as extreme as what we went through last night. Now, the market so far has not followed the 2017 trajectory that everybody thought it would. It's been a little bit different. It could start to take on that persona in the next coming months as we see some potential sideways and upward action. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But a capitulation move like this indicates the bottom of a move, indicates the end of a move. So when you say capitulation, that means to end. Capitulation, if you were to Google it, means to give up, to capitulate. So we've capitulated here. We are done going lower for the time being. The next question is, what comes next? Another question that comes up is, can you go lower than a capitulation? Yes, you can. You can go lower than a capitulation. It's fairly rare, but it does happen. Back in 2017, actually 2018, Binance is actually a bad chart to do this on. You know what? Let me switch to the Coinbase chart, because at that time, Coinbase was the dominant exchange. Kind of funny to be talking about capitulation again, huh? Okay. So here we have a capitulation candle on Bitcoin after the 2017 peak. Here's 20,000 right here, okay? We had a capitulation, but it did go lower than the capitulation. So what you're looking for are high volume capitulation candles, and you're looking for the behavior in these scenarios. You could even include, in all honesty, some of these are minor capitulation candles. Capitulation and reversal. This candle here is actually very interesting because if you do this, that is the largest candle, other than that one, that Bitcoin had ever manufactured. This one right here at the 11,500 level on the way up. So you do have a capitulation, but it turned around immediately. So just because you have a capitulation doesn't necessarily mean that it's the high. It doesn't even necessarily mean it's the low. It's very likely to mean the low, however. It is very likely to mean the low. Very few capitulations have actually been overturned. This is one that was overturned, this capitulation, and I think the reason this was overturned is because it was so close to the top. This is a potential future that we're in right now. This is potential. Not guaranteed, but this is potential. Next. You look at other capitulations. Here's a capitulation. Very high volume candle at that moment in time. Keep in mind, everything is relative, ladies and gentlemen, especially when it comes to trading. It's all relative. Look at all this volume going all the way back here. Now we're going to find that one big candle swamps us, but other than that, this at this moment in time was the largest volume candle, at least on Coinbase, that had ever been printed. Okay, so what happened here? Was this the bottom? This one did actually happen to be the bottom. This particular one came up, rallied, and continued. But if you look over here, oh, I zoomed out too far. If you look over here, because I deleted my circle. If you delete here, which is now the reigning world volume champion, whereas before this was the reigning world volume champion, and then this was the reigning world volume champion, then this was the reigning world, now this one's the reigning world volume. This one does get undercut. This one doesn't work. This one does. What is the difference between the two? And that, ladies and gentlemen, if you're an analyst, you should be asking this question. Okay? You're watching a YouTube video by a guy on YouTube, but this is the homework you should be doing. You should be analyzing behaviors. You should be looking for things in the market that are similar but not necessarily exactly the same. You need to find something to give you insight, something to give you an edge. And people that don't use volume on their charts, I am not that person. So God bless you. I wish you the best. I don't know how you do it. I have no idea. But every person in the market has an edge, and some people have their edge with no volume. But in this particular situation, volume is paramount. Volume is absolutely paramount. So the difference between this action and this action, in my estimation, is the action directly after the capitulation. The action directly after the capitulation tells a little bit of a tale. The action, I'm going to delete those, and we're going to zoom in a little bit more on some of these. The action on these particular, in these particular circumstances are very interesting. So if you look at this action over here, what you get is a nice capitulation bottom, very heavy volume, like we've said, the highest on the chart. And then you move up a little bit, then you go on to form a nice little cup. Very benign, not very aggressive. Candles are small. Volume goes small very quickly, indicating lack of selling pressure. Your volume declines here a tremendous amount. Okay, and then we end up climbing up out of this capitulation after a couple of weeks of some action that was benign and very calm. Okay, very calm behavior over here. Versus over here is a slightly different story. It may look similar, but it's actually not. What you end up with is you pop up, you have a high, right? And then you pop down immediately and you have a low. So there's your capitulation, there's your high, there's your low. You move up, you test the high, you actually go past the high and you can't go past the high. Then you take the entire range out. The entire range, and you can't go lower. Volume here also declining, but notice your selling candles are more aggressive. And then you try to go higher again, fail again, and then you're done. And then it's done. Versus over here, let's do that exact same situation here. If you didn't catch it before. So there's a minor high right here. Now this one does get stalled out, but then you have a low that doesn't get taken out. That alone right there is very small price action signals that is telling you that, hey, this is a little bit more strong. Now let's look at the high volume signatures here. There's one red directly next to the large candle. That one doesn't necessarily count. This one, even being only 2 bars away, is a little bit more significant. And that's a big green bar. And no red bar got over that one green bar. So that's pretty good. Versus you come over here and you have the green bar next to the red bar, which doesn't count. And then you have a red bar. This green bar can't get over it. And these red bars are bigger than this green bar. There's no big green bars in this area. Now, it's a very small signal. I agree. But at the same time, it could be very important. Some action, like one of these two scenarios in the next couple of weeks, will give you the signal that you need to know if Bitcoin is going to do this or if Bitcoin is going to do this. The tale of two Bitcoins, ladies and gentlemen. And every day in my Power Hour, we go over this information. We discuss the situation today, and we will be discussing it going forward, because this is what's going to tell you whether you're stable or whether you're going to go into a bear market and go schizophrenic. We're on the cusp right now. We did have a very nice bottoming candle that is being placed today. Coinbase is actually broken, so volume's a little bit low today. At least that's my understanding. But if you go back to Binance, as we discussed, massive Massive, massive volume. Can it get rolled over? Yes, it can. We've seen it. Will it get rolled over? No one can have the answer to that. If you think you know the answer to that, I hope you're right and you don't lose money with it. The more wise thing to do would be to wait until we see the price action after capitulation. Is it bullish or is it schizophrenic? All right, ladies and gentlemen, and that's all I got for you. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it, and I will see you next time.